What's up, guys? Can everybody hear me and see me okay? Hopefully that's the case. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal studio. I'm on location here. What's up, Matt? What's going on, Alan? Quick Red Phosphor Kel. Good to see you guys here so far. Hopefully the internet cooperates this evening. So what's going on, Louise? Good to see you. And welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad, and this is Stock Watch Sunday. If you haven't been a part of Stock Watch Sunday, welcome. Basically, what happens here is that I go over all the stocks that I'm watching throughout the week. Primarily, they are penny stocks. They are, primarily focused in the OTC. That's what Stock Watch Sunday has originated from. I've started to delve into bigger board stocks as well as they come about, if I see value in them and potential watches that I might play into. But primarily, it's going to be over-the-counter penny stocks. And we do have a very interesting one, that created a lot of buzz on Thursday, Friday, and over the weekend, a lot of extra buzz. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on that one. It has, a lot to do with a potential supercar, actually a hypercar, that could be reverse merging into into an OTC penny stock. So it could be a very lucrative investment. But, again, there's some still questions that need to be answered, and I'll go ahead and reveal those as well coming up. As you guys probably saw on the thumbnail for today's video, that's what we'll be talking about. Actually, in just a second. But again, let me go ahead and welcome some more folks in here. Blade Runner, what's going on? What's going on? R. Hanks, Amy, Sandro, Mark, what's going on? Peter, good to see you guys. All right, so hopefully you can hear me and see me okay. And yes, thank you very much, Bob. Hit that like button, folks. If you, if this is your first time visiting, you want to see more content such as this, whether it's related to stock trading or just becoming your own boss, being an entrepreneur, I encourage you to just subscribe to this channel, as I do put a lot of videos out daily in regards to both of those things. So if you are enjoying the free content that you're going to be receiving tonight, again, I would appreciate a nice thumbs up. Doesn't take a whole lot of work for you to do, but it does wonders for me, and I certainly would appreciate the support from this channel. For this channel. All right, so what's going on? So let's go ahead, and I will go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and we're going to be talking about this particular stock right here. So actually, you know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to pop you guys out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pop this out so I can see what you guys are saying as I'm sharing here, and that way we can go from there. So let's squeeze you guys in over here. Oh, hey, thanks, Alan. I appreciate the donation, guys. Alan's always one of my loudest cheerleaders, and I certainly appreciate the donation. So I think he one-upped you, Blade Runner, with not only liking the video, but also donating to the channel. What's going on, Andrew? All right, so NGCG. This has been the hot stock over the last couple of days. It's gone from 0009 as high as 00554, and ran all the way up into the close on Friday, and people are hot all over this thing. Why is that? Well, there's been some buzz with NGCG. I keep flipping those around. So NGCG, been a lot of buzz as it revolves around this company. So if you guys aren't familiar with this company or this vehicle for that matter, I would not be surprised. This is a De Tomaso. It is a car that represents the De Tomaso brand that they have revived from back in the 60s. So if you guys don't know a little bit of a backstory of the De Tomaso brand, so for me, I'm a huge car nut. Just to kind of give you a in case you don't know or are curious as to just how much of a car nut I am, I actually have a tattoo as it relates to working on cars, being geared. You can see there's I got all kinds of stuff on this tattoo as it relates to just car parts. I got like a big old cylinder here. So like I used to work on cars. I used to be big into them, and so this is what intrigued me a lot. Yes. So there you go, Blade Runner. Exactly. So this story is a very interesting story. So the De Tomaso brand, Alejandro De Tomaso used to work with Carroll Shelby. He actually came out with the original P70 with Carroll Shelby. It was an amazing car back in the day, back in the 60s. And so a Asian company, Chinese company, basically bought the rights to De Tomaso and came out with this. If you ask me, I think it's probably somewhere between a cross of a old 60s Ferrari P3 and probably an old, I don't know, Porsche 917. If they got together back in the 60s, this is the grandchild, if you will. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But it's a beautiful car. You can go ahead and do some more research on the De Tomaso. And I actually did myself. If you go and look, this is one of the first videos that comes up. You can see the full recap of the De Tomaso and their whole story. So it's a very interesting story. I highly encourage you to check out if you're a car nut like me. And so there's just been a lot of buzz surrounding this particular stock, and that it's potentially reverse merging into NGCG. So why does that matter to you, the investor? Well, it matters to you, I think, because the connections here. So there's connections with Apollo Intenso, which is another hypercar as well. Just to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory here, Tom Kim is the CEO of NGCG, and then also the CEO of De Tomaso. So as you can see here, this is the state of California Secretary of State, De Tomaso Automobili. Tom Kim down here is the president, CEO. And so what's the connection here? Well, honestly, the only connection that I've been able to make, and this has been through due diligence of a lot of folks, this has been a village that's kind of come up with a lot of the connections here, is this is one of the filings that NGCG put out recently. So they put out a lot of filings here. This is what's created a lot of the buzz. So they put out a lot of filings recently to get themselves current. Okay. And then one of the filings actually has loan payable to De Tomaso right there. That's one of the connections. There's a lot of other connections here, and I know there's probably a lot of you watching, and I don't want to receive any hate. Look, if I were to go over every little piece of quote-unquote DD about this thing, we'd be here forever. So I'm just trying to hit the highlights here. So if you want to leave some comments to provide further information on that, that's fine. But all the dots that you can connect here, definitely you can make an argument that potentially, NCGC could be going public. They actually are quoted as saying they wanted to take the brand public. Now there's obviously some debate there because, maybe the whole thing with De Tomaso, just to kind of, let me discuss that with you real quick. So the whole thing with De Tomaso was that their CMO, their chief marketing officer, basically said they wanted to bring this brand public for its 60th anniversary, which is this year. They just came out with this vehicle last month, and this is the only one so far. There's 72 that they're looking to make at $850,000 a pop. Now there's already pre-orders out there. Rumor has it that most of these are already sold, if not all of them. So the valuation of this company obviously could be very large. Not only that, but De Tomaso isn't just going to stop there. Hypercars, they're trying to make fully production. I don't want to say it. So they're trying to make other production cars as well in the De Tomaso line. This is just kind of the first step in that direction. Now, again, we're not going to know if this for sure is going to be a thing until we get some sort of press release from them stating as such. A name change, something along those lines. But I've always talked about with you guys about how companies are looking to get themselves current, usually in order to get them in order to put out some sort of press release, and they're not going to put out a press release until they have all their filings current. Well, as you can see here, let me go ahead and share my screen again with you guys and show you at otcmarkets.com. They do have an attorney letter out. Here's the concerning part for me. The attorney letter went out on July 23rd. Usually there's a pretty quick turnaround from OTC Markets after the attorney letter goes out for them to get current. You can see here there's a yield sign. And for those of you who don't know anything about over-the-counter penny stocks, the yield sign basically means, they need to get all their filings together in order and in good standing before it'll go current. A yield sign could also mean that they're 6 months behind, but in this case, they're no longer behind on filings, and so there's something else going on here. Usually, the attorney letter goes out, and it's within a week's time, I would say, that the company goes current. Right now, I mean, it's been 3 weeks, just about, almost a whole month. So there's one area or cause for concern. And again, this isn't me trying to bash the stock or anything like that, but you guys know me and how I, try to make sure that all the bases are covered, and I'm not trying to overhype this thing or anything like that. And so the other thing for me is what I was saying earlier about them not having any kind of official PR. So there's a lot of times in the OTC where people go, oh, this is, the next thing, this will go to the moon, all that good stuff. And so what I try to do is just remain level-headed as I can and try to give everybody all the facts as I see fit. So, or as I see them. And so, with NCGC, Andrew says fins aren't correct in format. From what I can tell, OTC markets changed the required format as of Q1. So maybe that's the issue. And so those are the two things that really I'm just kind of like, okay, this looks, all the dots seem to be aligned here. And this could be a very fantastic stock if, in fact, De Tomaso is reverse merging into NGCG. That would be huge. So, a massive run if that actually ends up happening, even if they're just selling the P72s. I mean, $850,000 a pop times 72, you do the math. A half a penny is way undervalued at that, with that kind of revenue coming in. And so if that all aligns and if this actually happens, this could be a monster stock. If it does not, if this is not the case and you buy in at a higher price, you could get screwed. Okay? So what I always tell folks is make sure you're managing your risk. A lot of people got in very early on this one, as low as triple zeros I've seen, and very low double zero area. So, with this moving 500% over the last 4 weeks, you just understand the risk here. That, there are a lot of dots to connect here that seems as if this is going in the right direction, but we won't know anything for sure until that PR comes out. So it's definitely some exciting stuff. I hope it happens. I hope it happens and this thing runs like crazy. I think, that there's definitely a real possibility that could happen. But, I've had a lot of time over the weekend to kind of think and mull over this, and I'm not one to, like I said, jump the gun a whole lot and just really kind of like tell everybody, yeah, this is the next one that's gonna help you retire. This is gonna be your zip code changer. I'm not with that crowd that really like tries to pump all that kind of crap up. I just try to here's all the information and take it for what you will. And so that's with NGCG. Lots of stuff to go over on that one, and I wanted to make sure that I got that out of the way so that people could tune in and really kind of get a full picture of the company and the stock. The other thing is that once they get current, we'll finally see the whole financial landscape of NGCG and all that good stuff. So hopefully they get current soon and we actually find out what in the world's going on with this company, one way or the other. The other thing that I do like is the share structure. It looks really decent. Not a whole lot of volume to get this up at 0054 as well. So if this news actually happens to come to fruition and De Tomaso is going to be a publicly traded company, then, I think this thing will skyrocket. I mean, honestly, I think it could. The potential is definitely there. So, this is Stock Watch Sunday for a reason. This isn't Stock Buy Sunday. So, watch this one, if you will. Going back to the chart, it's really tough to determine any kind of point of entry. I'm sure it'll gap up tomorrow with all the excitement and hype surrounded around this one. What I would suggest to you is if you're not in it, wait for some sort of pullback. As we always see with these stocks, with any stocks, nothing goes straight up. So look for areas of potential pullbacks. I try to mark some areas here, but they're really thin area. The case is not very good to make for areas of around maybe 004, maybe even as low as 0034. I highly doubt we're going to see that at all. But like I said, nothing goes straight up. Look for some sort of area of consolidation or pullback, whether it be on a 5-minute or 30-minute chart, something like that. And, just invest wisely. Manage that risk like I always try to preach to folks. All right? Hope I covered enough for you guys out there. No dilution either. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. That's an important topic. So, or important fact to point out as well. Let's see here. They had $500,000 in dollar volume Friday. Looking for 0035. Yeah, I mean, if it comes back down to 0035 Blade Runner, I will be scooping that up as well. Faux show. Especially if there's still volume and momentum there. I mean, I'm not just going to hop in on 0035 if volume dries up, obviously, but looking for, still volume to consist, coming back down to 0035, that would be a real sweet spot. Tough to determine if that's actually going to happen or not. Okay, cool. Again, lots of stuff to cover on that one because really, honestly, that's all that seemed to be moving on Thursday and Friday. But nevertheless, this coming week, I still think that INND is going to be one to watch out for. Now, I don't have any indicators pulled up here because I just want you to look at these candles. This is on the daily chart, okay? This has come back all the way down to lows of 01 cents. And this is a company that has products in Walmart, all the big box stores, Amazon, what have you. INND, they have a lot going on. You can look at, let me pull up, actually, let me go back here and I'll pull up here. So if you go back to OTC markets and pull up INND, let me pull that up for you. And you can look at their company profile. Their Interscope Hearing Technologies, they have hearing aid or things that would assist you in hearing as far as products are concerned. They are all over the country. And so the problem with INND, though, has been dilution. That's been one of their biggest downfalls. That's what you can see here. They've just been diluting the stock like crazy. It's had excellent runs in the past, though. When they announced that they were getting to Walmart, it went well above 10 cents. You can see here, this is actually last year's chart. Way back here, they went as high as 16 after diluting for some time. But here's what happens after INND stops diluting. This. So you can go, I've been tracking this over the last several trading days, and there hasn't been one T trade on this in quite some time. You look at the share structure here, and even though they've been diluting, you can see the share structure is very, very good still. Very, very small share structure for this price point. I pulled up the latest Q filing, and it looked like their latest note is pretty much done. The next note that doesn't come due until about October-ish. And so I think, the fact that they're no longer diluting usually is a catalyst in and of itself. Looking at INND, I think that if it breaks above 025, we could see a really good move. And as you can see, this has already been moving over the last several trading days from its lows all the way down to 01. The folks within my morning mentorship group already are aware of INND. And if you want to become a part of the morning mentorship group, I highly encourage you to check that out. The links are in the description below. But we've been talking about this well in the low 01 range, and now it's gone up quite considerably since then. Lots of people happy with INND so far. The only thing that I need people to watch out for on INND is if you look at level 2 and you see those dilutive market makers show back up on INND, that's something that you're going to need to watch out for to be able to manage your risk wisely on INND. And so yeah, that's going to be something that you're going to want to watch out for. If there is some sort of significant catalyst that comes out between now and when they start converting their next note, then we could see a nice little move out of this. But in the meantime, like I said, sometimes when there's just no dilution going on at all after a period of converting, that in and of itself can be a catalyst. And so that's what we're seeing with INND. Even on low volume, this has been moving up. People keep just buying this up already as it is. And they have a lot of value here. They're a legitimate company. They have a lot of products all over the place. So Peter, good question. What's the significance of T-trades? So T-trades are basically, when a dilutive market maker, hides their shares all day long. So if I'm a dilutive market maker, if I'm a note holder and I want to, start dumping my shares into the float, but I don't want to show my hand all day long, I have to show them at the end. So I don't have to show them right in that moment, but I can basically, let you guys know as soon as the bell, rings after hours, how much I dumped. So I could be dumping 10 million shares a day, but I don't have to show you until at the end of the day. And so then it will show up in the form of a T trade after hours. So, and with penny stock, with OTC penny stocks, there's no after hours trading. So as soon as 4 o'clock hits, that bell rings, then that T trade shows up, and you'll be able to see how many shares were really dumped throughout the day that day. And it's usually some astronomical number. But that's a basic understanding of how T trades work and what to watch out for. So this is what I've been doing with INND. I can see, time of sales. And so then after 4 o'clock, if I don't see any, then that means that typically there was no T trades that day. So, hey, African Emporium Willis is showing up to Stockwatch Sunday. What's going on, man? Also doing a little fishing. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Absolutely, man. Thanks for stopping in. He's another one of our mentors over at WeTrade HQ. So if you want to go check him out, check out his YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. Lots of good stuff that Willis provides us and his followers as well. So good to have you, man. Thanks for stopping by. All right, so the next one is PFMS. So from here's the thing with PFMS. So this has been going off. This is another one that we've been tracking for quite some time since the trips, and it's gone all the way up to 002s. This is one that I'm pretty confident that this could continue. Pulling up Bollinger Bands here, just kind of want to take a look to see how we're doing. And it looks like we're in a pretty decent area of consolidation in this channel right here. Now, this isn't like a crazy looking channel, but this is just a daily chart looking like it's kind of just hanging out between 0019, 0023. And if it breaks out well above 0023, we could see another run out of this one. But people are getting excited about this. This is another Dave Lazar shell. So if you guys aren't familiar with shells and custodianships and takeovers, reverse mergers, and that sort of thing, Dave Lazar is a very popular, well-known person who takes over these shells. It's like what I like to call a used car salesman, if you will. So if you are a used car dealership and you go to the auction to pick up cars that need to be fixed up to resell, that's basically what Dave Lazar does. He goes and buys shells that he sees quality in, cleans them up, gets their financials together and all that good stuff, in order to make them a good candidate for a reverse merger. So he cleans them up, basically flips these shell companies in order to have a private company become publicly traded via reverse merger. And so with PFMS, this has been starting to get a significant move on most recently because of this. So if you can see here, this is the 15D form that came out late last week. Lots of times, and I was explaining this within my morning mentorship as well, you would see a 15D and say, well, what the heck? Why is this a positive thing? So if you're not familiar with what a Form 15D is, a Form 15D basically, allows you to no longer need to report to the SEC. So these SEC filings, they don't have to be filed anymore. And, a lot of people are like, well, isn't that super risky? In theory, yes. But the thing of it is that if you put out, if I was Dave Lazar, if I'm the car salesman that goes and buys the shell to clean up, and as I'm cleaning up, the SEC says, oh, wait a minute, they're really far on their filings, we got to suspend them. They can't be doing that. And then you start cleaning this all up for nothing, because now you're suspended and you're stuck. And so what Dave Lazar has done is filed this 15D to protect himself from being suspended as he's trying to clean this shell up. And so this happens quite often within the OTC. If you're not familiar with how that works, again, these are just basic understandings. There's a lot more red tape and a much deeper explanation, but just to, for the sake of time, that's basically how all of that works. And so the 15D came out. People get excited about that because that tells the investor, it tells people who are buying into something like PFMS that, okay, now the risk of suspension is off the table for the most part. And, as far as it comes for delinquent filings are concerned, and now they are really going to be getting to work to get their filings up to date so that they can make it a legitimate, candidate for a reverse merger. So, a reverse merger is the largest catalyst that the OTC or penny stocks have to offer. And so, they want to try to protect themselves as they're getting this thing cleaned up. And so that's why the 15D gets filed. So, yeah, thanks, Willis. Appreciate it. Blade Runner says, in your mentorship, I have a list of market makers in the pinned area. Yeah, so we do have that, G. So I'm not going to go into all that's a much longer conversation as far as who are dilutive market makers. So, all right. The next one I'm going to watch out for is not an OTC penny stock. It's actually RKDA. This one's traded on NASDAQ. This is one that we've also been watching within my morning mentorship, and I talked about this last week as well. This has still been one to watch out for. Made plenty of great trades on RKDA. Lots of stuff going on here. So I played this last Friday. Last Friday was not this past Friday, the Friday before, back at 277. Flipped out of this one on that same day. Thought I made a decent trade, and it was by definition. I made some decent money off of that one, but I could have continued to make some stupid money on RKDA, but I sold short. But nevertheless, RKDA I think is going to be one to watch out for the next several days, as this gap has seemed to have filled. After its recent gap up all the way up to $9 previously, I think that we could see a nice move from RKDA moving forward now that this gap is filled. Lots of times with penny stocks, the gap's always got to get filled, one way or the other. And so that's what's been happening here with RKDA. You see this gap get filled here, then it goes to new higher highs, and then gaps up yet again, and then the gap comes down here and gets filled. So I think from a chart perspective, we could see a nice move back up. But having said that, it's got to hold this support level at around 660. If it doesn't hold this support level around 660, look for it to come back down to 523. And then it may or may not come back at that point. But what I would do is just watch to see if this starts to get bought up pre-market. If it does, then we could see some nice momentum out of RKDA. And what do they have going on? Well, they've had some news lately. One of the biggest pieces of news relates to their drug tolerant soybeans. So they basically innovated these soybeans that are intolerant to drought. So that's huge from an environmental standpoint. Could provide a huge revenue stream for RKDA. And then they came out with news as well on a good quarterly report. So from something that's being traded in the NASDAQ that's still technically a penny stock, RKDA could definitely be a nice trade for you. But again, like I said, watch to see if this actually bounces off. After this gap has now been filled from its gap up previously in the week, I think we could see a nice move from this as long as this support area holds. So be on the watch out for that, RKDA. Let me just check in with you guys. Okay, cool. So last one's going to be ARSN. Now, this is one that we've been watching over the last couple of weeks. But the nice thing about ARSN is that it's been holding here quite well. So the running joke is that the pattern here is a gravy boat pattern as opposed to what we would call a cup and handle pattern. As you can see here, this is a little bit elongated a little bit. That kind of resembles a little bit more of a gravy boat than an actual cup and handle pattern. But this is holding right here, consolidating quite nicely on the daily chart. So this has gone up 500% since its lows, way down here at 002, where a lot of our folks actually got in, and has been holding quite nicely in this 008, 009 area, in a really good area of consolidation. So from a chart perspective, this is looking very nice. From a fundamental perspective, it looks as if the Yinglings are trying to take a little bit more control of ARSN. Now, a while back, they reverse merged into ARSN. They were once a privately traded private company, and were looking to go public via ARSN. And so, if you guys aren't familiar with ARSN, they are and this division is a ice cream company. They also are related, have connections with Yuengling Beer, Yuengling Brewery, America's oldest brewery, as a matter of fact. And so they have ice cream that's being sold just about everywhere on the East Coast and parts of the Midwest. I believe they're down south as well, but they're all over the area that I live in. And so there's been some issues when it comes to dilution, but there haven't been any, shares converting. There hasn't been any kind of share dumping, and that's why we saw that move back up. So if you see this, remember how I was saying earlier about how, once something has been diluting for quite a bit and then all of a sudden stops diluting, that in and of itself becomes a catalyst. Well, that's what's happening with ARSN. That's why it started to move up from 002. The dilution has stopped. There hasn't been any share dumping at all since then. And so that's why I've been still pretty bullish on ARSN. If there's some sort of significant catalyst that comes out of this and the share dumping continues to cease, just like INND, in that illustration that I showed you, this could have a nice move as well. This has gone up as high as 4 cents, damn near 4 cents. in the past when the reverse merger was first announced. So this could make a nice strong move again as long as the share dumping stays away. So that's going to be something you have to be watchful of. You start to see that again, that might be something that you have to ask yourself, okay, I need to start managing risk. What do I do here? And then, plan accordingly. So, but all signs are pointing towards, maybe they're finally done with all that mess, and, a significant catalyst comes out here, and I think ARSN could make a nice move. So that is it for me. Those are all the, at least it's not the Bart Simpson pattern. Yeah, so that was an interesting one. Arcadia agricultural play. I traded it a lot in 2018 when it spiked well into the teens area, doing great run as well into the 20s. Yeah, FDA news recently. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point as well. Willis, great point to bring up. DCGD made an amazing comeback from the 30-cent range. I think it closed above 50 cents on Friday. Yeah, that's another one to keep watching out for. It's been so strong coming from sub penny all the way up to nearly 90 cents. And that's just kind of chilling out now around 50 cents. So we'll see. But man, that's got to be the runner of the year. DCGD, runner of 2019 so far. Sub penny all the way up to 90 cents, damn near $1. Right now I think there's just a lot of consolidation going on. It's moving like a typical penny stock would. There needs to be some sort of catalyst that comes from DCGD in order to continue that run. However, it's only going to run so far on hopes and dreams and speculation. We need to see some sort of concrete evidence that things are moving forward with DCGD. Otherwise, you're going to see this start to bleed down. All right. Yeah, Jane in our group made well over $5,000 on DCGD within the morning mentorship. So she loves singing praises of DCGD. But so yeah, it was an amazing play, Jane. Very well done. I think ELG. Well, we'll see. That remains to be seen. Again, that's gonna have to be something we'll have to actually see evidence of. And yeah, so that's it for me, guys. That's all I got. If you are tuning in for the first time, this is your first time visiting this channel, I would suggest that you subscribe to this if you want to see more content as it relates to penny stocks. This seriously is the only channel that actually focuses on over-the-counter penny stocks. I mean, obviously this channel has been evolving some and focusing on other stuff as well, but you're not going to find another YouTube channel out there that goes into this much detail as it relates to the OTC. So subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of that, and like this if you appreciate the free information I was giving out to you and my thoughts as well. We'll see about NGCG on Monday. It should be probably the most exciting stock on Monday, I would imagine. I'm definitely going to be continuing to watch that one. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. And as always, I will see y'all before the bell. Be Smith.